this special edition of the Weekly Zoo podcast. My name is Steven, and on today's special episode, our very last episode that we are running, we are looking back at some of the most funniest and serious and interesting moments of this show. The Weekly Zoo was one of my many attempts of doing content. A couple years before, I called it the most very original title, the Stephen Clickford Podcast. It's how very original my content really was. It was just boring, dry as fuck, to be honest. And then before that, there was the Clickford Zone, a complete hot mess of a format of moving forward, but we really didn't really move forward that much. By 2019, we kind of got the format kind of set up, and we experimented on a show called The Weekly Zoo. A couple experiments in late 2019, we kind of got a better format of what was to be. And by 2020, we still kind of was hobbling on with technology because the pandemic happened. And it was a continued mess into 2021. But by 2021, we kind of figured out a production workflow, and by that point, our show became more of a success. By 2021, the Weekly Zoo became a marketable format for the show. The Weekly Zoo's long-term plan was to have phone-in callers, prank calls with the click phone scam, the bitch line for the voicemail message service, and other little features mixed into the commentary and reactions and other stuff that you hear on other shows, but the Weekly Zoo was trying to be original and informative. In 2022, I started to look into going into news gathering, so I kind of left the zoo for about a year and a half after realizing that was a complete failure. By us, the summer of 2023, we were trying to do the Weekly Zoo again with different formats to provide a better product quality. Take that. The Weekly Zoo's long-term plan was to have phone-in callers, prank calls with the click phone scam, the bitch line for the voicemail message service, and other little features mixed into the commentary and reactions and other stuff that you hear on other shows, but the Weekly Zoo was trying to be original and informative. In 2022, I started to look into going into news gathering, so I kind of left the zoo for about a year and a half after realizing that was a complete failure. By us, the summer of 2023, we were trying to do the Weekly Zoo again with different formats to provide a better product quality. Take that. Now, let's look back at some of my most recent funny episodes. As we were doing more of a simulcast format, one of the things that we did on the Weekly Zoo was doing skits. And these were two recorded ones that we did. We did one with a stereotypical New Hampshire woman that's a boss bitch named Amanda. And we called her Type A Amanda because of her personality type. And then we wanted to mock Joe Rogan and make him look like an erotic dancer.
The dots! The FBI! Participated in that. And the kid! Securing up. No, right. Well, we still don't know what's on the Epstein client list.
Right. Or there was it 80 Congress people had sexual harassment suits that are sealed?
How about the 51 intelligence? former intelligence agents that
Zero
signed off that the Hunter Biden laptop was bullshit.
And zero consequence.
No way! No way!
It's crazy.
Our frequent callers. Oh boy, we had frequent callers, Amanda. And you had to be in the center of that because you've been hanging on with me since 2021. Yes. I had to put on those guys on the show, and Joey from Fake 87, he was a mess to deal with. Joey, you're on the air.
Okay, Steven, you little soy boy, you just don't like guns, because only men with nice, guns, we like to protect ourselves, because that's part of being a man.
Really? Enlighten me, Mr.
You're such a gay little dude. I mean, no girl wants to bang with you. You're so fucking lousy, and people like you should be ashamed for being on YouTube. And maybe I should just go dox you, put you in the farms, because you're just.
No, don't do that. So I'll find where you live and I'll freaking see
No,
you.
you are just a little man that doesn't like to be called a man. You're just, you should just go kill yourself, because you're just nothing but a useful idiot. We men like guns. And if you don't like guns, maybe you should be a tranny.
Oh, wow, you're just throwing all these daggers at me. You're such a manly man.
I mean, you're going such a stupid tangent. Your thoughts are so obscenely out of control. And then you have that girl in your life, that Melanie. Only fags would date a girl like her.
You're really angry.
I like to know how you fucked that bitch.
Oh, that's none of your damn business. You're such
a fake man. You're so empty. And Donald Trump's my president.
But he's not your president.
He's more manlier than you.
Oh, you sound like my crazy eye.
You're so fake.
I'm so fake. Now he's going on the cart machine, just going on.
Black people are inferior by science, and people like you should not be allowed to use information. No, you're fake.
Excuse me, I don't think you're now talking like my father. Don't be
You're so fake. You're such a fag. You're such a loser. You're just a dick.
So throwing me at Al Habenlum tax with
because you don't allow people to think. You just tell people.
Oh, that's
no, you tell
bullshit.
people how to
That's
think.
Bullshit. No, you're the one who's telling me how to think. You're the loser. I don't know if you're screwing with that girl.
I'm glad that 17-year-old is acting like a man, like he should. If he wants to grow up, he should have the right to grow up. And these little lawyers are a bunch of trans and homos and...
Sometimes I wonder if you're fucking with guys.
I mean, we need to be, these people are not manly like this man. And people like you continue to smirch people, and I love Jordan Peterson, and, well, not in a gay way, because I don't like gays, and I'm not gay, never been gay, but I like Jordan Peterson, and you know what, I do sometimes stop to his pornographic. I think it's inspiration porn, and that's the kind of inspiration porn you should be jacking off to. That's all I have to say. Bye, you little soy boy.
I thought you were going to call me even more damn names. Okay. Alright. You are just such a low life. I mean, Joey just throws... He's like a cart. He's like an 8-track. Yeah, bet Joey. We'll be back in a moment. This is the Weekly Zoo. Hey, we're brought to you by from Techie Crafts, techiecrafts.clickford.net. Use the Weekly Zoo at checkout for the next couple of months. We'll continue to give you a discount for homemade crafts and technology nature. We'll still give you an offer even if the zoo is not on. So check out techiecrafts.clickford.net. I don't have a lot of respect for my peers. I actually hate them so much now after what happened the last 3 years, and they always had a reason for everything. Okay, I gave them 3 years of a chance to like, hey, can we do a video chat? Can we do something other than this text stuff? 'Cause I hate people just sending me 3 messages one after another after another. I don't like this texting crap. And they feel like me, for them, it's happy to have a face. I don't know what's on their end. They're not being open with me. I'm open with them. And one of your other features, Steven, was the Londonderry NH Exposed. This one, I think when we mixed it to video, it was like 4.5 hours, maybe almost close to 5 hours of what was, I think there was like 8 episodes that you did. I mean, to be that vulnerable with that intense emotion, what did you get out of that? Well, I was very emotional, because the year before that, I blocked all my friends from Londonderry on Facebook. They, I don't know what you think about millennials. I don't have a lot of respect for them. And they're emotionally unavailable people. They're not loving. They only care about whatever interests them, whatever serves them, which I think is really the problem. And millennials, I'm still dealing with that, Amanda. I was in a mainstream classroom, but they thought I was not at level with them. Not even in a social and emotional sense. And that was what really Londonderry NH Exposed was how the special ed program that was so nationally known caused so much incredible damage for one student. And of course, yeah, no one really cared about it. And obviously, the people who know me probably are fed up me moaning and bitching about it. Obviously, we got almost, well, I wouldn't say threatened, but we got people triggered, which we didn't know what was going to happen legally. There was one classmate that created a YouTube account to comment on the video where that individual was confused of what I meant by what was the hashtag, and she scolded me like a child. And that's exactly how people, exactly the worst thing you could do is, if they act childlike, you scold them like a child. You punish them. It just tells you everything you need to know about these people. I wish I never went there, but where would I be today without Londonderry? That's something that I grapple with. But it was I needed to let it out, and that's what led to the Londonderry NH Destroyed series of videos. To be honest with you, I had to destroy all that stuff. Most of it. I just finished it up. Was it earlier this month? I still have like Valentine's Day stuff to shred. What was those mementos? Because those mementos had you kept on to it. I was a sentimental person. Well, they weren't. It wasn't equal. Well, I didn't show much sympathy or empathy with my peers at the time. They weren't when they were adults. So it's funny. Everything went 180 between the theories of the minds between the typical people and me. They were living in the past, and I was living in the past too, but the problem was they were festering it or just letting it be a self-fulfilled prophecy. But I don't think a lot of people talk about the lack of having any. I mean, I would go so far to say it was very superficial in nature. It was very meaningless.
Steven.
God, what do you want?
How are you?
I'm fine.
I have a question.
Oh, really? Chime in.
I'm meeting this new guy, and it turned out that he is disgusting. He doesn't have manners anymore, and I don't know why I should be around with him. What do you see that is so wrong in this picture?
I don't understand why you're falling for guys that are just badass. If you know he's a badass, you're gonna get a badass. I mean, it's. I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, Lindsay, I wasn't done with you, but you want to hang up on me? Go ahead, Lindsay. But I think the we cannot tell you one of our drivers, as they say in the industry, from the marketing sense, one of the major drivers of this show was what we thought was the Love and Relationships Hour. In March 2021, we originally called it the Relationships Hour after I was going through a turbulent divorce that involved in the tragic suicide of Melanie Grace Clickford. But prior to that, I felt we needed to have a safe space to talk about relationships. I mean, we had made special 1-hour shows on YouTube and stuff just talking about relationships. We did multiple extra editions in the week and special recorded editions of the 11 Million. Hey, I'm coming out of the dungeon this year. Hey, happy 2022, bitches. This makes sense if you think about it. There's clear negotiation and rules. Hey, autism, right? Some autistic individuals report kink really speaks to me because it's all about rules and boundaries, which is basically Asperger's porn. Well, I'm not on Asperger's syndrome. It allows intimate sexual and nonverbal communication to be laid out, scripted, predictable, understandable, and enjoyable. Relationships hour. But what was so funny was that it wasn't until later that year we started to get really frisky questions, and it was just freaking hilarious.
There is my trunk. Hey, what's up?
The sky.
So my buddy is really horny, and she's pregnant.
Wow, she's horny and
Yeah.
pregnant.
So she wants me to bang every night.
Oh my God, that is.
I don't think he can do this.
2021, you just said she's pregnant, and I'm cracking up because I don't know if anyone heard the lead up to the call. Was he said something about trunk, and where's my trunk? And I'm giggling. Well, what does he mean with his trunk? Anyone who understands telephony understands that the line that you feed into your phone system is a trunk. So we had a loose connection with Alan, and so he heard one of our texts say trunk, like where's our trunk, and so he's like, where's my but what he did is he spoke up and stuff like that. That was hilarious. The other one I point to was the hippie girl. The guy has the hots for this hippie girl, and he said to the fact that my parents are going to kill me if I find out. What should I do? And I just did this one line: screw your parents.
Alright, I know you don't have the voice changer here, but one of the things that I wanted to say is I'm in my 30s and I like a hippie girl. But my parents would kill me if I had the hots for a hippie. What should I do?
Screw your parents if you really love her so much. I was scrubbing through the content for the best of 2021. I laughed my freaking ass off. I chuckled like crazy. And just that one line, I'm like, I just said it so seriously. Screw your parents. Another one was the entitled narcissistic mother named Joy. who demanded loyalty to her adult son. She's 50 something and she's got a 20-year-old kid, which tells you a lot about Gen X and Zoomers. It was a quintessential example. And I didn't really discover much about toxic relationships. I think I can't remember when Joy called in the show, but it was like 7 months after I discovered Dr. Ramani on YouTube. And clearly I was talking like I knew it. I look back and I'm like, how did I have the balls to say that on the show? The other one that I remembered was I was talking. I could just do an entire episode of us just dissecting the love and relationships hour and stuff like that. But it was hilarious as hell, and now I'm gonna miss doing that. What was the sub tagline for the show? Oh, it was like asking an autistic about cameras, but he knew nothing about photography. I just decided to make fun of at my own expense. But I love doing that show. It was. I think that was the driver. Like we do the 1 hour politics and reacts. I think it was 50 minutes when we would do breaks, and then when we go to the love and relationships hour, we're at the 10 o'clock hour where, kids shouldn't be listening to this and stuff like that. I just loved it. I mean, it was really creative and how we got the callers come on the show and ask the various questions. What was your favorite question? Other than the pregnant and horny caller.
Hi, just curious to wonder what your take is on girls that don't wear makeup and think that she's real.
Okay, was that a question? Can you reframe that? 'Cause it didn't sound like a question.
I'm sorry, I didn't answer it really like, what is your take on girls that are raw that don't wear makeup? Does that make sense?
They're raw.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Okay, right. So the girls that are real are raw, and there's a difference between being
That's what I
raw.
have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. X. Thank you for hanging up on me. Well, my favorite caller was, I mentioned it on our last live show, but I had a few of them. But a lot of them I remember, which broke my heart looking back as a producer and call screener, was these guys were average dudes that were trying to, they were trying to get a girl, and they were doing it.
So I was recently at a Victoria's Secret, and to try to prove a point here. Your point about how they shoo you away, that's bullshit.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I had a gal there walk me through all the bras for like a good 25 to 30 minutes.
Come on.
Hi.
Hello.
There's this girl that I like who works in a neighboring office, but we don't work for the same company. How should I ask her out? I'll take her question off the air.
See, this is why I do the relationship hour, because I honestly don't know what a relationship is supposed to be. I really haven't had, I sucked at romance, sucked at infatuation, sucked at friendships, sucked at family. So this is why I do the show here. Well, what my suggestion would be is if you find the girl, so if you're working, I'm assuming it's like an office building, multiple use, right? I would just say, hey, you want to go for coffee where if there's a Starbucks or whatever. Or just meet, if you know where she goes, meet up, and then, like, kind of, without being a creep, obviously.
There is my trunk. Hey, what's up?
This guy.
So my buddy is really horny, and she's pregnant. Yeah. So she wants me to bang every night.
Oh my god, that is.
I don't think he knew this.
Pregnant and I'm cracking up because I don't know if anyone heard the lead up to the call. Was he said something about trunk and where's my trunk? And I'm giggling. Well, what does he mean in his trunk? Anyone who understands telephony understands that the line that you feed into your phone system is a trunk. So we had a loose connection with Alan, and so he heard one of our texts say trunk, like where's our trunk, and so he's like, where's my but what he did is he spoke up and stuff like that. And that was hilarious. The other one, the hippie girl. The guy has the hots for this hippie girl, and he said to the fact that my parents are going to kill me if I find out. What should I do? And I just did this one line, screw your parents.
Alright, I know you don't have to. I mean, like a hippie girl. But my parents would kill me if I had the hots for a hippie. What should I do?
Screw your parents if you really love her so much. You can content for the best of time. I laughed my freaking ass off. I chuckled like crazy. And just that one line, I'm like, I just said it so seriously, screw your parents. Another one was the entitled narcissistic mother on the time for the weekly zoo traffic and weather report. Right now, we have no problems to report except for a weekend construction wrapping up shortly and 291 westbound on the Mini Brick State 3. No problems report. Tonight, temperatures will be in the upper 50s. Tomorrow, warm mid 80s with a humid with some humidity. Tomorrow night, lows will be in near 60. Reading the current temperature right now, it's 60 going down to 55 in downtown Copenhagen. This is a weekly zoo traffic and weather update. We're seeing a huge change in gender norms. It was hilarious as hell. I think that's not a bad idea. However, I think it's going to cause a lot of pain for guys that are probably not going to get in any relationships. It was like asking an autistic for what I would think maybe a long time. I think this course correction is not their fault. It's no one's fault. But we're figuring all this stuff out in a live situation, and I don't think that's a good thing. But hearing those callers, hearing those tapes, it was 1 hour pretty sad to hear. Part of me putting these callers up on the show. When we go to the love and relationships hour, at the 10 o'clock hour, where the hippie girl. The guy has the hots for this hippie girl. Really creative and how he said to the fact that what should I do? And I just did this one line, screw your parents. When I was scrubbing through the content for the pregnant and horny caller, I laughed my freaking ass off. I chuckled like crazy. And just that one line, I'm like,
I'm just curious to wonder what you're taking on girls that don't.
Went under. There were many that did, or mall stores, but they reduced. But they reduce and kind of cut back and find a core audience to grow, core markets or whatever. I think the same thing is going to happen with all the media. I hope that there's some consolidation, but it grows, or they find a bottom to grow. I mean, I think the politicization of the media, the commercialization of the meat industry, I don't think has helped matters. MNG. I think part of the legacy of what you've done with the show, if I think about it, we were, just recently, WCBS News Radio went off the air. Its tagline on and off for like the last 35 years was, "You're more than just a headlines," because it was a counter to 1010 Wins, which was reading you just 30-second news stories. Where we are in New Hampshire, people are very proud that there's a drying news desert. They do not care whether or not they want to be actually informed to make actual decisions. Yes, we did a lot of politics, but that is what you see on the public access channels. If you still have cable, or if you're online, if you're familiar with community media, you probably will see that a lot of shows where I live, it's politics. People just sit down and look at a camera. You look at podcasts, people are talking about owning the libs and owning or getting even with the right. You see it on Twitch, you see it with Destiny, you see it with Vosh, as I think we mentioned earlier. But our show we weren't those people. We were more than just the talking points. I guess that would be our legacy of the show, and your legacy with the show. That we were like, hey, just because Trump leaned right by coincidence, Trump is saying things that most normal people wouldn't say. So we would try to refrain from the politics to, hey, this person's making an ass out of himself. Or Tulsi Gabbard being a sellout, as Stephen would say. Or Laura Ingraham has really lost her mind. But not from just the politics, but just the idea that she would put it on the air. Like, this is something you want to watch with your Father's Day of the Fox News channel, right? Or MSNBC for that matter. Or we would call out the feminists like Liz Plank, who I think on our last episode we talked, or one of us brought up that she was taking one's phone and looking, was with the implication she was giving them their Instagram, hooking up on Instagram when she was actually putting them on a Kamala Harris emailing list, and she claims to be a journalist. Okay, that's kind of sketchy. That's manipulation. I don't want to say that we were just a talk show, but again, I think mixing the morning show with a drive time talk show that was delivered mostly on a podcast, but we were mindful of the listener's time, but it's like this damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we're cutting out too much stuff, then we're taking these out of context. If we go over a certain time, it's over one's attention span. But certain people would want to hear a 3-hour talk show. So, like, what position are we doing? And I think that's a huge issue with a lot of us, where I think the future is we're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you just have to go on your gut impulses to say, hey, we're going to do a 50-minute show, a 50-minute kinky LNR show, and do like an after show, which I thought was kind of a cool format. But I think part of it is no one else has. Everyone throws away the broadcast way of doing things. And remember, YouTube's tagline when it came out was broadcast yourself. And I think a lot of people are just doing all this new stuff. They're used to film. They're used to cutting things up. And we were more like, let's just stop the cutting, because that's what they're complaining about. And just play things, like give buffer to the issues. Literally, give nuance. Don't cut up the nuances. And I just don't see that anymore. I mean, yes, broadcast, we've done it in TV, we've cut things up. We understand this. We are mindful we're mindful of all this stuff. But I think a big problem is we are either cutting too much or we're just going on extended. So there's some of the more manly podcasts could go up for 3 hours. But then they're playing at 2.5 speed, or 1.5x, I should say. So it's like, I don't really know. I just wish we could just at least invite people to come in, enjoy what we do, and love what we do. And I don't see that anymore. I see more from the consumers to just pander to what they want. And I think it's hard for us to pander to every consumer, but to kind of format it, I think the Weekly Zoo was, I think, successful for Steven, was because the show was completely set to be formatted with the sound effects, formatted with just comical stuff, by making light of what was very dark. Because there was a lot of concerns of the direction of this country, the direction of society. So I think by trying to lighten it without trivializing it, I think it was a good idea from a programming perspective. But I would extend the Zoo's tagline, other than empowering you, what say you, which was, I think, one of the early taglines, was we were more than just the politics, even though when we did talk about politics. That's how I would say it. And you've had your final thoughts, but in terms of this recorded legacy, what do you think, Amanda, is the legacy of the Weekly Zoo? I think you've said it. You were trying to. I mean, for you, I think you had the most fun when I saw you behind the wall. Because we didn't have a glass, but I mean, I think you enjoyed yourself. The one that we never published, were you at the MISAB show? I thought it was kind of hilarious. I mean, I wasn't involved in the production, but your wife was banging, and the security who kind of pulled her away, and she was like, "Oh yeah, this is my wife." But yeah, the MISAB show was I had access to that, and I thought that was one of the funniest things I ever thought I saw in the zoo, and you were kind of based in format. But I think there's so many people know so many things now in terms of production, and it's just now I think we just kind of are not necessary, but I think we are necessary with all the misinformation and stuff like that. So, MNG, what do you think? Well, so as I said here, the Weekly Zoo is non-negotiable right now. Going to return. We are going to fight as much as we can to do another podcast in the same vein of the Weekly Zoo. We might call it the Stephen Clifford morning show, whatever. Who knows? We don't know. I'm told by the 312 people they will still continue to post old videos on the channel for they're kind of like telling us you're gonna be like Judge Millie, you're gonna compete against your old reruns with her new show kind of thing. Same thing with Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil is still running old episodes, but he's got his Merit Street Media show. So that's what they were telling us, that if the Weekly Zoo was to shut down, that they would still upload content from the archives. I think MNG, what do you think is the legacy of the zoo? Well, I'm not going to say too much since I was the EP of the show, but what I will tell you is I hope I made a mark in this content of what I could have done. But right now, like we said, the economics, the media, situation. It's making it very difficult to do this kind of show, and unfortunately, just the media economics is just making this even more difficult. So, with that being said, this is the very last edition, the Legacy edition of the Weekly Zoo. I hope you enjoyed this special. We will do more stuff, obviously, through archived content. And I hope I meet a mark in your life. Again, there's so many things that we could talk about. And I hope that we meet again at some point. Till next time, this is Stephen Clickford, and you've been listening to The Weekly Zoo.